Okay, it's time to talk about one of the best oils out there, frankincense. So I hardly even feel worthy to talk about this oil because I know the ways I use frankincense are just scratching the surface to what this oil can do. It is truly amazing. But I'm going to share what I know and we'll go from there. So first I'll share some historical background on frankincense and then I'll share the ways that I personally use frankincense in my life. So frankincense, as you may know, was considered a holy anointing oil for thousands of years in the Middle East. In the Bible, I think the only reason I even knew the word frankincense before I got this oil is because, as you probably know, in the Bible, in the Christmas story, frankincense was one of the gifts that Jesus received, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And I remember as a kid listening to this story and being like, wow, it's so cool that Jesus got gold. Like, who cares about that other stuff? But it's so cool that he got gold. But little did I know as a kid that frankincense was actually valued way more highly than gold in that time period and in that culture. And rightly so, because you can do a lot more with frankincense than you can do with a lump of gold. So, I mean, I'd probably rather have frankincense now too. um, so that, like I said, is probably the most common one. That's probably where you first heard of frankincense if you're like me. But the Bible actually contains over 52 references to frankincense. Some translations it appears as incense or anointing oil or something like that, but usually when it says incense, we know that it was talking about frankincense. It was also known as one of the first medicines, appearing in one of the oldest medical records from the 16th century. So the way the essential oil is made, it is steam distilled from the gum or resin of the tree. Young Living has their farms in Somalia and Yemen. Young Living is the world leader in the market of frankincense essential oil. Gary was the one who did a lot of the first research on using it as an essential oil, and he made about 15 trips to the Middle East to study the species and find the best varieties to bring to our market here in North America. Frankincense oil, as you may know, is not cheap, and a big reason for this is that the process to extract the resin that is then distilled to get the essential oil it's a very intense process, and it takes a lot of care in order to do it in a way that's sustainable. So, as you also likely know, much of the frankincense on the market has been adulterated in some pretty severe ways. Like we talk about with many oils. But again, this is one where it is, like I said, unfortunately for us, it is an expensive oil. But this is one in particular where huge red flags pop up for me if I see it listed at a price that I know is not a fair price. Okay, so ways that I personally use frankincense. I use it, of course, aromatically. It smells amazing. I sometimes even just inhale it from the bottle. If I'm feeling a little bit stressed, I like to go and take a sniff because it smells so good. And sometimes I don't want to waste a drop, like sometimes I'm not going to be home for long enough to diffuse it all day. This isn't one that I would put on and then leave the house because this is special. So I do diffuse it, but usually only if I know I'm going to be in that area for a while because I don't want to miss any of its goodness. So sometimes I diffuse it during my quiet time in the morning when I'm doing my devotions, or if I'm sitting down to get some work done, I really like to diffuse frankincense. I also like to add a drop to my diffuser bracelet some of the time so that anytime throughout the day, especially if I know it's going to be a stressful day, then I can just breathe it in from my diffuser bracelet. Topically, A big way that I use frankincense is in my skincare routine. So I add it to my face serum that I use usually once or twice a day. Um, or sometimes I'll use it as a spot treatment if I'm having a breakout. I'll just use a drop, put it on any kind of blemishes. And I also like to add it to my wellness roller along with thieves that I try to be good about applying every single day. I also do use frankincense internally sometimes. There is a plus version of frankincense on the Canadian market. So sometimes I will add a couple drops to a veggie capsule, often along with lemon or thieves or something like that, and I will ingest it that way. So there you go. That's what I have to say about frankincense. I'd love to know though, did I miss anything? How do you like to use frankincense? I would love to hear.